Hello, hello, and we are live. So I am actually live on TikTok as well. So I've got like two screens here, and we're live on YouTube, live on Facebook, Twitch. So I encourage you all to follow me on all those networks you can catch when I go live and do different things on each respective network. And definitely, if you are new to the channel, click the like button on this video, comment, subscribe. Let me know how the Aquarius stellium has been going for you. And, I'd love to hear from you. And I also want to always start off with discussing my memberships, which are on lilithastrology.com. So if you love what you're seeing here and you love the channel and want more content, definitely check out my memberships. Those are in the link below. And I offer essentially for a monthly membership, there's two tiers. And there is monthly horoscopes for each zodiac sign, different webinars that I teach on manifestation, magic, and astrology in general. So learning more about and diving deep into the stars. And we have a community on there as well, Magic Mystery Group, where I'm talking to members every single week. We have weekly horoscopes for each zodiac sign and a lot of other exclusive content for members only. So definitely check those out down below. And I am now also offering mini readings. They're 15 minutes on this app called Intro. You can find that in the description down below. But there, you're essentially on a live video call with me, and I'm doing these quick readings that essentially can kind of give you a taste of your chart, or you can ask a specific question if you don't want a full reading. And I'm also giving 15% of my earnings there to the Bail Project. So it's also going to a good cause. So check that out. So when you download the app, you essentially go to the astrology page, and I'm listed there. So it's really easy to find me. And I'm also on Hey Hero, which is a Q&A platform. So this is a little different. You're not live on a video call with me. Essentially, you ask me a specific question and you book it, and then I send you a video response on that. So that's really great if you want quick insight, quick intel and advice, and don't want to have a full hour-long reading. But if you are interested in talking with me one-on-one for an hour, most of my readings, the shortest one I have is 45 minutes, but they're 45 to an hour, and there's a lot of different types of readings that I offer on my menu on my website. So definitely check that out at lilithastrology.com. Links are all below for everything. And if you really love this video, you love this information, you want to support the channel, definitely check out the lilithastrology.com/donate page. That's where I take donations. And this just, this definitely helps me bring more and more content like this to you guys. And yeah, so let's get into the topic of today. So this is a general video about what a stellium is, or stellia, which is actually the plural, even though a lot of astrologers, we say stelliums. It is stellia. What it is, what it means in the birth chart. And then I'm also going to touch upon the current stellium because it's so potent right now. And I'm filming this on February 3rd, but we are approaching the new moon in Aquarius on February 11th. And that truly is empowering the stellium that we're experiencing in Aquarius so much more, because we'll have both luminaries, the sun and the moon, in Aquarius, and then a slew of other planets. There'll be 6, including the sun and the moon, in the sign of Aquarius on this day. So I thought this was really important to come on and talk about live and kind of give people, insight on as to what's going on. And I also have gotten a lot of questions on what a stellium is. So I thought this is a great topic to have on YouTube, and this is something that can live forever. So if you're watching this at a later date and you're not experiencing the Aquarius stellium, you can watch this. You can watch this and still apply it to then and to your own life, because I'm going to talk about the birth chart as well. So let's get into the video. Thanks for everyone that's here watching. And yeah, so a stellium. So a stellium is one cluster, or a stellia is multiple, even though we do say stelliums for some reason. I think it's just because it sounds better. It's not grammatically correct, but it's the same reason why we call the sun and the moon planets, just as we do astrology speak, because they're actually luminaries. They're not planets. I mean, they're like satellite. The moon's like a satellite, you know. So I think that's another reason why too. But essentially, it's a cluster of planets within the birth chart, and this can also be transiting, that it's basically they're all forming a conjunction in one sign. And so it's 3 or more. Some astrologers say 3 signs. Some astrologers say 3 planets. Some astrologers say 4 planets, 4 or more. But I'm an astrologer that says 3 or more because, and especially if they are personal planets like the sun, moon, Venus, Mars involved in that cluster, it really gives more power of that sign in that person's life and in that person's personality. Like if I have a stellium in Scorpio where the sun is there and Mercury, so that gives more energy and more of a concentration in that sign, and that is like a point to really dig into and understand in my chart because the sun is there. So if you look within your own chart, I definitely encourage you all, or book a reading, book a little mini reading or whatever, and like be like, yo, I got a stellium, and get some information on that. If you do, I have 2 in my chart, so I definitely understand what it means to have them, and it really focuses your attention on that placement and on that place in your life and on that part of the chart, and it can be a point of personal liberation, because especially if you have planet like a malefic planet involved, like Pluto or Saturn with the personal planets, that is a very karmic area of your life. So definitely take a look at your chart and see where you have that. But that is essentially in the birth chart what a stellium is. And they are considered rare, but maybe it's because I attract a lot of clients with them because I have them. I think that they happen more. They can happen more often than people kind of are saying them. It's anecdotal though, because it's like, how do we know how many stelliums exist in the world? We'd need every single person's chart. So yeah, so that in terms of rarity, I don't think they're really all that rare, but it does add a signature to the person's personality of that sign. So definitely take a look at that. Oh, wow. So you have a Leo. So you're a Leo and a 5th house stellium. Nice. So a lot of fun. That's Leo. That's the joy of Leo, the 5th house. You have a Cancer stellium. So a lot of emotions. Emotional. So, hey everyone. I'm just like talking to people on TikTok. Head over to YouTube or Twitch or Facebook because I'm live there now, so you can watch more real time. I'm doing like double screens tonight. We're going all in on it. But that is in the birth chart. So that's in natal astrology. Whenever I'm talking about like in your chart, personal chart, that's natal astrology. But now we're going to talk about the collective. So this is what is called mundane astrology. That's actually what I do in a lot of the horoscopes that I do online on YouTube publicly. What I do in my private community is more along the lines of even more tailored to you. So that's more natal astrology. But this is like this is what's going on with the collective, and that's mundane astrology. I know the name it's like, why mundane? But that's what it's called. You can also call it collective, for the collective consciousness, collective astrology. Okay, see, Scorpio and 1st house stellium. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, astrologers like, oh, they're so rare. I'm like, I don't know, because I feel like I look at one every day. Like, I'm not saying that it's also you're not special because you have a stellium, but I think and it may also just be the type, just how society's progressing in general, because it's like how many astrologers have quoted it. Probably 50 years ago, someone came up with that. And now human beings are evolving at such a faster rate. And it's like the things that we know and the access to information is just so much more potent now that we're just able to like go and do more. Not that that's also the best, but that may also be why, because there's a lot more people, but that's an anecdotal analysis. It's not something that I've actually clocked, but I just see a lot of stellium, and at least seems like everybody's joining the stellium, the stellium live that has them. So, you know, can have a little stellium support group now. But like that's in the birth chart. So in terms of the collective, I really want to use the current Aquarius stellium as a example. And I actually also forgot to plug at the beginning of the video that I did make a new Spotify playlist that just kind of invoked some of the energy of this event, because Aquarius is the sign of the humanitarian. It's future vision. It's someone who, I hate to say thinks outside the box, but yeah, it's someone that thinks outside the box. But a lot of the time too, they can seem like the odd one out because they're so far ahead with their vision and their goals, or who they are and what they're, you know, what they have to bring to the world. So that's also, you know, a kind of a karma for Aquarius, is to own their own individual selves and their individuality. But in terms of the collective, that's what's going on with us. Like when you really think about it, you know, before in life, I would say the past 10 years, much of humanity didn't really question what was going on. And the ones that did were seemed nuts. And that's where the Aquarian energy comes in, because it's like forward-thinking people, like someone like Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman. It's Black History Month, so I'm gonna like bring some of these peeps into it. Sojourner Truth, all these people who were deemed nuts back then, and now like it's funny, like some white people will glorify, like conservative white people glorify Martin Luther King and like he was peace, he didn't protest. I'm like, what crack were you smoking? Because y'all killed him, you know. And I'm probably gonna get shadow banned in this video. Also my live on Monday got got canceled. I'll teach you, we're trying a new format, so I'm working on it. Ray is actually editing it, and we're gonna re-upload it, so I have to take a look at it, and it'll probably be up by tomorrow. But anyway, for those that watched it are wondering what happened to it, but they now glorify these people that before were not, they would have been killed, and they were killed for it, or put in jail, and all these things. So, you know, now with Aquarius energy, the energy is ripe for people like this, who were once seen as nuts, and then now they're like, people like waking up. They're like, oh yeah, this is a fucked up situation, or this society isn't doing enough for us, or we need this, and we want to progress our own individual selves and our own individual lives. You know, like I think a lot of people are realizing, especially with the rise of entrepreneurialism and breaking outside of the box of expectation, is definitely going to come up for a lot of people with this Aquarius stellium. You can see that in sharing your ideas. I was like, you can't drop this in the chat and not expect me to like say your ideas. Thank you. I love, I'm just pausing now. I'm going into the comments. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Definitely check out the playlist. It's like a nice, and it's also, you know, we just had a snowstorm in New York. It's not like we can go protest or do anything like that. So unless you want to die in a blizzard, but you know, this can be a nice way to do it. So that's what the collective is going through right now. And it's in your own respective country, in your own respective life. So in terms of country, it's like, yeah, America, people hear about us all the time and like our problems, but outside, I've looked at international news, and there is stuff going on in other countries, and protests, and different people just saying different things that are just so revolutionary, and they really want change. So that really is going to start to really ramp up. We just this week actually just had Venus, enter the Aquarius party, and now is part of the energy. And then as we go more towards this new moon, it's like also Mercury retrograde is there as well. So Mercury is like, let's recall all the ways of the injustices. Let's think back. Let's rewind back and think about what's going on. Like, what's real? So it's also a revision. It's also things from the past being brought up again. I mean, I think it's really interesting. Black History Month is during this time. I mean, it's always been, but it's during an Aquarius season. Well, Aquarius, it also rules Black people, but I mean, the energy does in general. But it's about the outliers. It's about the people who are not accepted in this time, but it's changing and the energy is ripe for it. So I definitely encourage all of you. I actually was just on a reading, a really great reading on intro, and I told my client, if you do a new moon ritual in Aquarius, make it about scripting your dreams and your goals and setting intention. You don't have to start anything new. You don't have to do any crazy ritual, but just doing that, you can truly tap into the power of this new moon, because Aquarius is also about dreams and wishes and your future goals and where you see your life going. That's the symbol of Aquarius, is the water bearer, and the water bearer delineates and gives their wisdom that is inherently from source to the collective. So a lot of us are also realizing we've been put here with our own vibration and our own footprint in the world. And when we are not in alignment with that, it's like chaos. And you can feel that tension within yourself. And, we want to like say it's anxiety and like depression and numb ourselves out with certain things. But at the end of the day, it's because we're not in alignment. That's why we have all of these things going on in the world and the chaos. Well, also because the divine feminine is suppressed, and that's like a whole nother video. I've done some videos on that, but I will plan more. But that's why there can be that chaos. So in your own life, take a look, if you have it, where is there stagnancy and where is there internal chaos? And honing into that and start to script, how can I change that? How can I now come up with some new dreams and new goals and new visions to not be in that chaos or not be in feeling stagnant and controlled? Because Capricorn's about control. Aquarius is like, it's a different kind of Saturn control. It's an elevation of the Saturn energy. Saturn is the classical ruler of Aquarius. Uranus is the modern ruler. Saturn is also the ruler of Capricorn, but this is the side of Saturn that's about reality and control. Time is a patriarchal construct. It truly is, but Saturn, when it gets into Aquarius, it's about breaking that down, breaking that pattern of time. And it's also lessons on the collective. So I've looked at other Saturn cycles, and I went over this in my live on Monday. So I want to rewatch that one once I put the edited version without copyrighted content on it. You can check that out. But this is really a time where it's ripe to go into your goals and go into your dreams and your vision and what's truly in alignment with you. So that's really the stellium that's happening for the collective right now. But in general, when planets pile up like this, that's it. The astrologers immediately like, let's look to the world, like what's going on with the world when you have transiting planets piling up like this. Because we also had a Capricorn stellium that was just pummeling through the world last year, and kind of year we had. So stelliums are very important to pay attention to, and this is why I'm making this video, because this is a very important one to pay attention to. So look in your own chart. If you want, book a mini reading, and we can take a look at where you have the Aquarius pile up, because there is some change. Like even Jeff Bezos, which I need to look at more at his chart. I haven't looked it up, but I saw on Twitter that he left Amazon. So I'm like, okay, so this is the Aquarius stellium shit. I feel like nobody's shocked by anything anymore because it's like we're all just so we're just so primed now for just all these changes and things occurring. And so definitely you can expect more of that. But a lot of it is also re-looking at your own thought patterns during Mercury retrograde with this as a big part of this stellium. Mercury retrograde is a time to revisit old themes and revisit old things. And it's not necessarily a challenging time. It can just be challenging if you grasp onto certain things and hold expectations. Like so many things have been delayed, like for me this week. And I'm like, I'm not gonna, he just stepped down to a lower, I know. And then also at the same time, like this shit still exists. Amazon, it still exists. So, right. I was like, it honestly isn't even really like that big of a deal either. Cause it's like, it's not like he like is closing his doors or being like, I'm going to give all the proceeds to small businesses. Like, no. Yeah. But yeah, you know, so definitely if you guys have Aquarius in your chart, sun, moon, rising, even if you have like a Venus, if you have Venus, I just did a reading too where the person had Venus, and definitely relationship themes, revisiting those coming up for you. And the thing too with Venus and Aquarius is, you know, I've seen a lot of things just on like, you know, Venus is love and beauty, which is true, but Venus and Aquarius is not all like it's not all love and light. Like Venus is in a Saturn ruled sign. And so Venus is like, things better be fair amongst this community. like, or I'm going to go off. Venus and Aquarius is Venus. So a Venus and Aquarius artistic expression would be a band like Rage Against the Machine, or someone that is expressing themselves to change society. So it's not just like Venus with roses in her hair. It's Venus with, you know, a Black Lives Matter shirt on and her fist up. So this is not like love and light time, you know, just because Venus is in the stellium. This is like, time's up, motherfuckers. Time to change shit up, and time to change stuff up in your own life. Honestly, another thing too is human beings, we can all be so attached to things, and that's like the number one thing that you want to start to release is attachment when you are amping up your magic practice, because attachment, that is just it's just creating chaos. So if we didn't live in this capitalist society that was like, this is the deadline and driving da, 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 we wouldn't feel a lot of chaos or stress during Mercury retrograde, because it's a gift from the universe to slow down. But we have these constructs where it's like, oh God, if I post this and the spelling's incorrect, oh, the world's gonna implode. Or if I say this to my boss, oh, whoop, shit's gonna hit the fan. And if we have all of these expectations, and the society built up, the planets have been here. Mercury retrograde's been here. Mercury retrograde's been around. The reason why it's such a shit show is because of capitalism. Like, it's literally insane to think about. I actually was thinking about this the other day. I was like, you know, Mercury retrograde really isn't that bad. Like, it's not that bad because, you know, you resolve old things. You can go back. Like, I did some cleaning. I changed passwords. Like, I did things I was supposed to do during Mercury retrograde. But I also have released attachment to like shitstorms happening or things being challenging. I'm just like, the reason why is because we live in a capitalist society that expects this at this time and this at this place, and this, we got to do this, and this needs to happen this way, and attachment. So that's one of the biggest piece of advice I always give is like, release attachment to shit coming out exactly perfectly the way you want to. And that's what you should be doing anyway. I post shit with spelling mistakes. I'm like, fuck it. It's funny, actually. Like, speaking of Mercury, it's so funny because I was like looking through comments, and like I read the comments on once in a while. I'm trying to get away from reading them as much. And Ray actually reads a lot of stuff and answers. So you think you're talking to me? Not a lot of the time. But I was reading comments on YouTube, and this one viewer posted that I say, this is like an earlier video that I was saying, you know, too much or and I actually have worked on, I actually have had a speech teacher to work through that. I went on Toastmasters, like all that stuff, because I've never been good at public speaking. And I was like, this is something that I need to get over. I also have Chiron and Gemini, but this is something that I need to push through. This person commented on the Virgo rising video. I was like, of course a Virgo rising, you would comment, because that's your karma, is to release the perfectionism. When you release the perfectionism, that's when you find that you're enough. We don't need to be perfect all the time. So that's a problem with Mercury retrograde, is people feel like they need to, Virgo's a Mercury ruled sign, you need to like overthink things and everything needs to be done this way. And it's like, no, it doesn't. What to focus on is your true expression. That's Aquarius. Like, what is your truth? What is your true expression? And releasing judgments of other people. Because little do you know, honey, that video was not only meant to give you information, but it's to be a stepping stone for me to become a master speaker. So you don't know the journey that someone is on. It's just a reflection of something that's going on internally. So I always also urge clients, whenever you feel like shame around doing something or speaking your truth, know that any judgment that you receive, it's a reflection of how that person feels on the inside. And maybe you doing you eventually can ultimately heal and help them and teach them that you don't have to be a certain kind of way all the time. You can be yourself just by being yourself. And that's Aquarius energy. So definitely think about that. I think it was spicy Dorito. I'm like, that's a little advice for you. Like, trust me, I get comments or DMs, emails, like crazy stuff. And I'm just like, all you're doing, honey, is showing me where you have wounding. I don't care about your opinions, honestly. And I just don't take the time out to go writing also on other people's shit. But that's a reflection on what I believe in myself. So definitely, yeah, don't hide yourself. Don't hide your ideas, because the world needs them. The world needs everyone's true expression and everyone's ideas and everyone's truth. Peace and love. So I'm on YouTube right now too. So everyone's seeing me answer some TikTok comments as well. But you can get the mini readings on Intro. So, or you can check out Hey Hero, and you can check it in my bio link. I have it there, or go to intro.com. So that's handling that. Right? Just be yourself. Just be yourself. And when you're being yourself, and if you're receiving backlash or whatever from other people, that's their own shit. That's your shit to deal with, not mine. Enjoy. Like, it's only lowering your vibration. And if you can shift that, because like we were born into a construct filled with so much shame, because the establishment does not want you to be in your truth, because you can expand and grow and feel happy. And when you're happy, you're vibrating that out, and that's manifesting as material wealth in your life. They don't want you to be wealthy or happy. They want you to be in controlled. And that's Saturn, that's Capricorn stuff. And I'm not saying you can't be happy and be a Capricorn. This is the difference between mundane astrology and birth chart astrology, and natal. Mundane, we're talking about the big energies and how it affects the collective consciousness. It's like the age of Pisces. That is a mundane discussion, because we're talking about millennia of deception. But Pisces, it's about fantasy and illusion and a creation of a story. That's why Pisces is associated with creativity or Hollywood. Neptune is in Pisces right now. And with these periods of it going between direct and retrograde, we're starting to see beyond the veil. during a big transit like this. But this is like when we're talking about the big outer, and Capricorn energy is about structure and control and time and power, holding power, keeping power over people. And you can't keep power over people who are individuals. You can't keep power over people who live outside of time. And a lot of people are getting to that place. Even take it for people who are independently, who are independent employees, or not employees, but I'm independent. So that it's like I live outside of time. Like I have certain constructs that I would have to adhere to, but generally you can live outside of time. But that's the difference between those two Saturn energies. And then if you think about Uranus as the ruler of Aquarius, Uranus is like time. Uranus is just their own thing. They just don't, you cannot control Uranus. And another thing to think about with this particular stellium is that it's forming a square with Uranus in Taurus. And we also have Mars there, and we have Lilith there, and that's going to be on the new moon as well in Aquarius. And so that it's like people are not going to want to be controlled, and they're really going to be more forceful about their values and what they want in their lives. And another thing to think about, and I don't think making rash decisions is a thing to do but people are going to want to. But people who don't have astrologers are going to do that. Y'all are not gonna. Y'all are gonna just think about, okay, this discomfort's coming up for me. I'm feeling this is stagnant. This needs to change. Okay, let me use this new moon to dream and think about how to change and what I want to change. And then when shit goes to rent, then I'll make my changes. And that's how you act like a witch. You don't, you use the cosmos to guide choices. Like there's certain content I don't come out with on certain transits, or I'll see like, okay, this transit, I'm like, this will be good for like this. And so I run my business even around astrology. I'm like, I should do some astrology, do some business guidance courses for all you entrepreneurs out here. But this is not the time to also initiate, but a lot of the collective is going to want to. And the thing is, when you initiate during a Mercury retrograde period, you got to revisit it later. You got to redo it later. That's why when I did this the live on Monday, now I got to re-edit it and re-put it back up because I don't listen to myself and launch something new during Mercury retrograde. But that's what happens. You have to kind of re-go and do it. And it's not the end of the world too. It's like, okay, like we have to redo it. So if you do have to start something new, it's not the end of the world, and release attachment to it and know that, okay, this experience came about now for a reason. And it's not, it's not the worst thing to have to redo something. Releasing attachment, perfectionism is a symptom of shame, essentially. It's just shame. And that's one thing with Virgo energy is it can, and Mercurial energy, Gemini can relate to this a little bit as well too. It's over-analysis paralysis. And then that can just lead to it manifesting in you not moving forward with your truth and what it is that you want to do, and wanting to communicate those things out to the world. It can block a lot of those things. So definitely encourage all of you who are just trying to think, that you're like, oh, should I do this? Should I do this? I don't know. We have one life to live. Why worry about what other people think? Because it's your life. That's a straight up Aquarius energy. It's your life. And you are an individual. Aquarius cares about the individual collectively. So the goal is allowing individual expression, individuality for the masses. And Capricorn energy, when we were really deep in that, entrenched in that stellium last year, was not about that. It's like control. But this is also a time too where it's like you want to think of a new way to own your individuality. So how can you flip what you want to do in a creative and new way that is most like you? So definitely think about that. So stellium are important. We had that big one last year in Capricorn. We saw that year, and now we're charging into 2021 in Aquarius energy. So this is, I think this is also great too because Jupiter is in the mix, and Jupiter is wise. Jupiter is expansive, and Jupiter represents luck. And we also have Venus in the mix as well too. So it's not all it's not changes that are bad for you. It's changes that ultimately are for your greater good and will lead you towards your vision of the future. But you can get there that much faster if you script it out and then start to release other people's judgments. Yeah, this year is to create new ideals. Totally. Definitely is. All right, guys. Well, this was the stellium video. I hope you all enjoyed. Definitely check out the playlist down below. It's a lot of fun. And if you're interested in mini readings, check out the app Intro. You can download it on the App Store. Check out the astrology page. I'm there. You can see my shiny face under Lilith Astrology. Or you can check out Hey Hero. That's in the links below. If you're on TikTok, bio link. And I hope to see you soon. And definitely check out lilithastrology.com if you're interested in diving deeper with me on your astrological journey. And I'll see you all in the next live. Bye.